What if there was another way to actually live, a way that you can actually start to be in charge of your own healing, a way to get out of this survival mode and into creative mode? Well, it's my job as your host of the Healing Tree Hub to introduce you to some modalities that might actually make all the difference and to give you your power back. My name is Sarah, and I have the pleasure of meeting you every week to discuss new modalities and new topics that are really making a difference out there. So buckle up and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Healing Tree Hub. I have an exciting episode today. I have one of my dearest friends, Tania Piccolo from The Real, and I'm so excited to bring her on today to just discuss her journey of awakening. And I think that a lot of people are going to really resonate, or maybe even get a bit of an aha moment when they hear Tania's story about how she has evolved spiritually and the trials and tribulations she's had to go through to get to this extraordinary place that she's in right now. So I am really looking forward to introducing you to Tania. Tania, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sarah. You were also part of this process too, which I absolutely love. We connected many years ago, and thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited about where you're going. But you have been a part of this process from pretty much the very beginning. So we met each other in 2000 and
now you're
2006 we met each other. You're my
Goodness.
neighbour because I moved into a place in Melbourne where I was married and Sarah became my neighbour and pretty much my saviour from the chaos, like in my marriage. Like I remember knocking at your door at like 8 a.m. wanting to have a cup of tea and they would bar me because they'd be like, oh, she's here again. But it's Sarah, like you're part of that journey. And what I loved about that is that from back in 2006, we were able to talk about what we talk about now.
No, I was just thinking about that today. Before this cast started, I was thinking, oh my goodness, our journey starts so early. We're only a little bit different in age, but my early 20s, meeting you, I remember you being a spiritual mentor for me. And it's funny how we perceive things. Like you saw me as some sort of someone that was able to get you out of the situation that you were in for a temporary amount of time. But I saw you as a spiritual coach and a spiritual guidance and a real beaming light in my life. I knew that there was no subject that we couldn't discuss. And that is magic. When you have a friend, if you ever have a friend that you can just discuss any subject and nothing is too crazy and nothing's off topic, then you know you've got a friend for life there.
Absolutely. I loved it because we even parted ways when I moved out after I got separated. You went off to live in WA, and for some reason the universe always brought us back.
They did.
So the interesting thing about that process first was, back in 2006, I really wasn't connected with all of this. I always knew that I had some form of gift that I was very afraid of from when I was a child. I was very scared because it wasn't the norm and in those days. So, ghosts and all that sort of stuff, or people that have crossed over, were known as scary. So that's how I kind of identified all of that. But I just believe that it started from then because I was guided not to drink throughout my whole relationship with my ex-husband. So for 7.5 years, I didn't drink because I needed to be present in the moment. So that's really interesting. And that just came to right now. I'm back at that place, but in a better place. So, you were part of that first initial spiritual awakening because we were able to talk about colors and auras and, angels and all. Do you remember we'd sit on your balcony or my balcony and just talk about all the great stuff? So, fast forward, from meeting you, and we're still connected. Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God, it's over 20 years. That's almost 20 years, I should say. That's crazy. It's insane to think of it like that. And yes.
It's just like, and we've had children, and we're both evolved in whatever way, shape or form. We've gone through our, you know, our traumas and healing, and, you know, we're both, you know, I think meant to be in each other's lives for all of this, for this moment in this time to, you know, I always say the healer still needs healing. The healer is the teacher and the teacher is the healer. So we're all here to learn and teach from each other. We never stop, we never arrive, which that's one thing that I think we started, you know, way back when. So that was really cool. That was really, really cool.
I love that. And I love our journey and I love our story because it just keeps evolving and getting better and better and better. Just when you think that friendship can't evolve to be more exciting and fun, I think ours does. So that's great.
There's no conditioning. There's like, it's a whatever. It's like, yeah, if I see you, I see you. If I don't, I don't. It's like, but we still talk for 3 hours on the phone, which makes it even more magical.
Yeah, exactly. We've done all of our chores and driven to all the locations we need to completed everything. No, I love it. I love it. And I also wanted to introduce my listeners to understand what you went through to get to where you are. So I'm just going to skip a little bit ahead and then draw back again. But Tania is an incredible angel reader, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing things the right way or anything like that. But just from my perspective, you've been in touch with spirit for so long, and your clairaudience is absolutely stunning, and it's been such an inspiration to me, someone that is just sort of exploring their clairaudience, and yours has been so strong and so on tap. And I remember just sitting there in your backyard while I was learning all of this, watching you channel information. This is before you did all your courses. You were just, and this light and energy comes through you. And I remember thinking, I can't wait to be able to do this one day. But before we go into what you're doing now and how exciting this journey is, I wanted to ask you a little bit about how you arrived and what your journey of awakening was like. And the reason for this, Tania, is because I think a lot of the clients and people that I meet these days are going through such turmoil and challenging times, and they're not recognizing that they're possibly going through some sort of ascension experience or awakening. And I really think that your story will help.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's not the norm. I think everyone thinks that, well, number one, there's no wrong or right in anything. And I think I always say that. Never any wrong or right. It doesn't matter if we get it right or if we get it wrong. It's just all an illusion, really, I say. Yeah, I have been able to do this for such a long time. And I think that's where my mum used to always say to me, Tania, your mouth is going to get you in trouble. Because I was being spoken through my whole life, I just thought that it was just my brain. So I love that you actually reminded me, yeah, I've been doing this for years, but I didn't know. And we're all clairaudient, we're all clairsentient, we're all clair, you know, voyant, we're all we all have these gifts. It's just whether or not we choose to tap into them. So how this actually started was when I did get divorced. I remembered I went through a really dark path, and I was very dark prior to, like, my upbringing was lovely, but it was an experience. I chose that family, I believe, for a reason, for this time in my life. And I say that family, it's like because we all choose our family. So I choose my family for this experience. And it was very traumatic, if I had to say. And a lot of us that have these gifts more and are here at this time is because we have been through a lot of trauma. We had to go through the trauma to get to where we are today. So after I did get divorced, I went through a state of chaos where it was, you know, I had no respect for anything, anyone, or nor even myself. Like, I didn't care. It was just this black hole of nothing. And then I remember meeting my beautiful partner today, and it was kind of like when the earth started ascending back in 2012 is when I met him. And it's because I was speaking to my PA yesterday and saying we met each other in 2012. That's when the earth started ascending. And then it was after I had our son that I kind of connected to a brand back then, and it sort of started teaching me about myself and how I could be a better person, and I could feel all these downloads, but I thought it was just my brain. And I'm like, hang on, something's opening up here. So I had my son in 2015, December 2015. And it was about 2016 when I really started taking care of my body. And I started watching what I was eating. And I started really paying attention to what I was doing and learning about the external. And I just thought it was my process. I just thought it was life, and I was here to meet new people. But really, when I look back, it was, it was starting my awakening process.
Wow.
2014, even before I had my son. But
Incredible.
2016, when it was started really moving, and it all started with personal development.
Yeah, it'll do it. We'll kick it started.
Exactly. So, what I was reading, what I was listening to, what I was seeing, I wasn't awoken to the external like I am today, and I'll get to that. So then I had, we had a big gap in between my son and our daughter. There's like a 4.5 year gap because we just couldn't get pregnant. And we used to question why isn't it happening? Why did, our son take, so it was quick. It was quick. And then she took so long, and it was just like, what is going on here? And it wasn't until, and I remember saying to a friend once, I said, I would love to pay for the ultrasound and not to go to a, what are they called? Like a fertility clinic. I would love that $300 to go to an ultrasound and not a fertility clinic.
I know, yeah.
And guess what? I used that money for the ultrasound and not the fertility.
I love that. Amazing.
So she arrived when she was supposed to. Yep. She was like, so we had an appointment at the obstetrician the day before, the day whatever, that week that I went to go and find out that I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So I had to really quieten my body. I had alone time. When we did actually conceive, I took a trip over to America for my girlfriend's 40th birthday. I was all by myself. So it sounds really weird that I came back pregnant, but it was either. So I was actually able to allow my body to process. But I think if you meet my daughter, which my daughter, she is just this. She came in 2020.
Yeah.
She was conceived in September 2019. She was born on the 21st of May 2020. And let me tell you, she arrived on this planet knowing that she's here for a mission. She came here and she rocked my world, our world, and she still does. She knows she's here for bigger things. But what that also did was, I think also while I was pregnant, my body was starting to awaken, and I became not lethargic, but after having her, so I was able to breastfeed our son for 6 months. Come our daughter, I was unable to breastfeed. I was wondering why I was losing rapid weight and I wasn't hungry. I was wondering why I was so tired. I was wondering why I was just so manic. I was manic. I couldn't get it right. I knew that things weren't right. So I remember it was, of course, the time of 2020, which was a crazy time, but yet such a great time for everybody. There was so much learning in 2020. And with the birth of our daughter was, she came at the right time. She was the light for the darkness. She's literally been the light for the darkness. And I questioned why I felt the way I did. I was like with Lincoln, I had, all this energy. I had this energy and I was glowing and everything. With Ella Rose, I was just so depleted and constantly fatigued. And then I went to the doctors because it was when they were introducing the masks. And I remember being awake at midnight saying, I feel like I'm already in a coffin if I have to cover my mouth. I will not cover my mouth for something that is not true, because I knew at this time that I started waking up to what the media was saying, to what the governments were saying, and to what the universe was telling me. I knew that it was like there was so much corruption but it was displaying as manic behavior. So
Wow.
I went off to the doctors the next day after our premiere. We're in Melbourne. Our premiere announced that there was masks, and I said to the doctor, I can't do this. I'm going to lose my mind. I've just had a baby. I can't. I said, I'm not doing this to my family. I feel like I'm suffocating already, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she gave me an exemption, which was very interesting. Anyway, that's another story for another day. And then she offered me antidepressants. And I'm like, but I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
So she goes, all right, we'll do a plan. And this is all, my truth. And what I'll say here is, it's not medical information, but it was just something that really channeled through, and what the messages that came through after all of this process. She offered me antidepressants, and I refused them because I don't like external medication in my body, especially one that's going to take over my brain.
Oh.
And my body. And then she said, I will do a mental health plan and you can go and see someone. I said, yeah, I'm down for that, because I saw a psychologist after I got separated, and I was like, cool, we can do that. And then I did that, and then she said, follow up in a week's time. I did that. We went to go do the next process, offered me antidepressants again. What I did learn is they're not allowed to offer you antidepressants after a certain time.
Oh, okay.
So I
Wow.
did learn this after. You have to have X amount of time for you to display certain things to be offered, not straight away. So they should never be doing that. But, I always say, go and do your own research. I did that at the time. And then I remembered going to see my actual doctor at the same clinic, and she basically just looked at me like I had two heads, and I was not a normal person, because I could see the corruption. And because my body was so manic, I was just like, I'm like, there's something wrong in the world. And if that's these listeners like doing on this path, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm like, there's something wrong. This is not right. There's the masks. What's going on here? There's nothing happening. Everyone's okay. And I'm talking to a Western medical person that, their truth is to follow, their processes that they're told. So without being controversial and, in this subject as well. So I said no. And I said, there's something really wrong with me. She offered me antidepressants. I said, I will not take them. I said, there's definitely something wrong. And she goes, right, let's check your thyroid. I don't know why we went there, but my partner's a type 1 diabetic. So I'm like, right, refer me to this professor. So she referred me, and it ended up being that I had an overactive thyroid.
There you go. Wow.
There's a long story behind it, but this is also a bit of knowledge that what came through after all of this process was how many women out there are having babies and they're told that they've got depression, but really their bodies are just changing. What came through is that our children come through to activate us. Children are this beacon of something that activate our bodies.
Absolutely.
I mean, really think about every child that is born pure.
Yeah. And they come in with a bolt of energy and teach us a lot.
So they activate our bodies. So what came through for me, the message that came through for me was how many women out there are experiencing the same thing that I am, but they're just put on antidepressants and medication and medicated, told they're crazy, go home, and they don't resolve what's actually going on. I'm very grateful I have a great network of friends and people like yourself as well, and an amazing partner that was there to support me through this process.
Yeah.
But what I learned also at the time was we conceive with so much trauma.
Yeah.
That's where my body, it was a Sunday night in August 2020. And I remember calling a friend who was a healer, and I just started working with her. I called her and I said, something's not right. Something's not right. I need to heal. I need to heal. I need to remember. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. That's all I kept on saying to her. Rewind back to the appointment before I went for the blood test to find out that I had an overactive thyroid. I did see a healer, because like I said, healers are healers. Healers get healed. And she and she picked up that I needed to go and get something checked. And I was like, right, yes, well, I'm going to do that. So I already was on the ball knowing, but I remember this Sunday night saying, something needs to change. It needs to change. It's not right. I need to find out. I need to know. I just kept on repeating these words. It's like I knew that something inside me had to go. And I had to remember, it was kind of like I became that blocked as the being that I am, that it was like everything just had to shift. I had to clear all the karma. I had to clear all the programming. I had to clear all the trauma. I had to go back, and I did. I did work for about 1.5 years.
Wow. Incredible. And was it just energy healing, or what other modalities were you using?
EFT.
Yep.
Did EFT. I can't remember what else I did at the time. I think I worked with her one-on-one basically through that whole time. It was a safe place for me at that moment. She showed up for me at that time. I no longer see this healer, and that's okay, because everyone's here for the reason that they need to be. I have no idea where she is now, but I just remembered seeing her and working through every single bit of my path that I needed to clear to find out who I am today.
Wow, that is incredible. And I really think it's going to be so useful. So many people out there experiencing, they can really feel, they've got that intuitiveness that they can actually feel that something's not quite right. They almost got this sense that there's more. And I've spoken quite often about my start, which I won't go into, but understanding that my children had chronic conditions and chronic illnesses, and that Western medicine, as much as I absolutely love it, I even studied nursing for a couple of years, as you know, just wasn't able to understand the root causes of these chronic conditions. I just couldn't find a lot of mental health stuff. I find that when we work with Western medicine and Eastern medicine and spirituality, it's just this beautiful combination of balance. So it's not that we are against Western medicine. It's a necessity that is needed, and also a blessing in many cases, because obviously we're able to extend life. But this work is extraordinarily powerful, and I think people are starting to get the gist.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you don't have a huge amount of time, so I want to ask you a little bit about what you're doing now, and what's the business and what's happening. Tell us all about it.
Yes, so I'll go back and just say healing is probably the most important thing you could do right now if you're going through this awakening process, because whether it be, you know, what Sarah does as an energy healer, or what I do as an angel messenger and expansion mentor, everything's needed. Yeah. So whether I still today see healers, because we're never fully arrived. We'll never fully arrived. And what that does is that it helps us, you know, expand into the best versions of ourselves. So that's why you do what you do as well, Sarah, is because you're able to physically tap into one's internal psyche. Yes. Whereas I'm able to hear clear messages and visions of what people are stuck in, and pretty much call people out on their bullshit. Basically what I do, I'm an angel messenger. What I do in that component of my business is that I channel in the angels, and how I channel is through, it's like this beautiful pipeline of light that, you know, goes from my crown chakra, and it just opens up, and it's the most beautiful thing ever. I feel the angels with me. I see them, I hear them, I see them through color, through words, through visions. I also am gifted enough to connect with people that have crossed over and that experience both areas of angels, and you know, are just this beautiful feeling. But when people have crossed over, that's a different feeling altogether. And what I've been able to give to people, individuals that have been looking for that message, is just phenomenal. Like, I mean, I could go on about experiences that I've had with certain clients that are just like, even it blows my mind still.
Well, it never gets old. This work never gets old. There's always something incredible that blows.
So that's where someone can have like a one-on-one call for an hour. And, you know, if someone's got questions that they just want answered, I'm able to answer them through, you know, the angels, and, you know, like if loved ones want to join us, I'm more than happy, and through their guides and, you know, the angelics. And then I have another component of my business where it's expansion healing. And they're people that are really ready to work through the stuff that's no longer serving them. And whether that be through their trauma, through their programming, through their conditioning, I use different forms of healing. No one's the same. They guide me. So I still work with the angels and the guides. They guide me as to what I need to do at that present time. So nothing's ever the same. So it's really exciting also for the client, because they're like, what she's going to come up with today. It's exciting every time. No time's ever the same. And what I do there is that I work through with clients to work through moments in time to clear out. So then that way they have that beautiful pathway. And then I also guide them onto different healing modalities that, like yourself, Sarah, that, you know, that they can get done on a physical level. So I work through the internal to activate their abilities, because we're all here to activate each other in some way, shape, or form. Absolutely love what I do. I love when my clients get that ray of light around them, that they're like, oh wow, like, or, you know, their process changes. I worked with a client from last year to this year, and her process has just been phenomenal. She's gone from a very narcissistic relationship where, you know, there was, you know, money problems and different, you know, single mum, and she just wanted to leave her full-time 3D job, and to where she is now. You know, she's going through the process of finding that perfect mate, but, you know, she's learning the red flags. Her abundance has changed, where she's, you know, been able to go part-time in her 3D job to work more in a, you know, a fifth dimension, like that fifth dimension frequency role that she's been looking for. You know, everything's changing in her world, everything. And I'm just like, wow. And she's like, thank you. And I'm like, no, you did the work. I just showed up to guide you. Yeah, it's something else. It's something else. I love what I do. I'll always appreciate my gifts and everybody that's been around for this process, because if it wasn't for them, for everything, every place, time, and situation to show up for me, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So, you know, if you're going through traumas or anything like that, you know, if the audience that is listening, listen to those traumas, because they're there to be healed, and it's not going to be dark forever.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Oh, thank you so much, Tania. You have been incredible. And I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you for being my mentor. And I think it's really important to say, I mean, I've you know, specifically chosen certain people to be the first guest, and that's because they tend to have been my mentors, or, you know, Wallen Healing Tree wouldn't have been where it is now without the support and love of incredible people. And you are so right there. And I just love our chats, and I love the work that you're doing. You're helping so many people, and those people are going on to help other people. And the collective is just getting this beautiful ripple effect. So keep doing this work. Keep shining your light. I just can't wait to see where you go with this as well, because I think this is just the beginning for you. I really do. And Tania, before we go, how do my listeners find you?
Yeah, they can find me at therealtaniapiccolo.com.au. Oh, sorry, no AU. I've got to get it right. I'll get it right. Right or wrong, who cares? Now, therealtaniapiccolo.com. Then you can also find me on Instagram at _thereal 333 _ and yeah, you can find me on two platforms. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I'll make sure to put all those details on our summary. But thank you so much, Tania. And just, yeah, as I said before, keep doing this amazing work. And thank you so much for coming on.
You too, darling. I absolutely love you to bits.
Oh, I love you too. Bye. What a great interview. I am having so much fun recording these podcasts and sharing this knowledge with you. If you think that you have some really cool stories or something that you would like to share on this podcast, I would love to hear from you. So please feel free to reach out. And if you would like some more information in regards to my company, Wallen Healing Tree, and the services that I provide, I would absolutely love to hear from you too. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or www.wallenhealingtree.com. Thanks very much again for listening, and keep choosing kindness. Bye.